Yo, what's good, guys? It's Shane, and I'm back with another video. Today, we'll be predicting the Western Conference NBA standings for the 2024 to 2025 NBA season. Check out my last video if you're interested in seeing my Eastern Conference predictions. Anyway, let's get straight into it. To start off, I have the Oklahoma City Thunder claiming the first seed for the second season in a row. They had the best offseason out of any NBA team. To start off, they finally traded Josh Giddey to get Alex Caruso, which is a huge upgrade. Overall, Giddey was detrimental to this team and was widely regarded as one of the worst, if not the worst, starters in the league. On the other hand, Alex Caruso is an amazing role player and provides elite perimeter defense for the team. They then go on to sign Isaiah Hartenstein, former Knicks big, to an $87 million contract. This was a great move for them since they needed a backup big behind Chet Holmgren, and Hartenstein fits his role perfectly. He's a great rebounder, passer, and is just a dog overall. They also made some more minor moves like re-signing Isaiah Joe and Aaron Wiggins, who are criminally underrated role players. Next season, they'll have an amazing defense with players like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Chet Holmgren, Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, J-Dub, Isaiah Hartenstein, and more. It's crazy how much talent they have on this team, and they'll easily run away with the first seed. Coming in at the second seed, I have the Minnesota Timberwolves. This team was great last season, and nothing will change in the upcoming year. They made minor offseason moves like drafting Rob Dillingham, who I think can be big for them, and re-signing players like Joe Ingles and Luka Garza. Regardless, they'll have a great roster with amazing defense, and I expect Anthony Edwards to make another leap into superstardom and really improve this team. If we see the same defensive impact from Rudy Gobert and Karl-Anthony Towns becomes more consistent, this team will be great in the regular season. At the third seed is the Dallas Mavericks. They had a great offseason, signing guys like Klay Thompson and Najee Marshall. The signing of Klay will improve their spacing, which was already good, but Klay will attract so much attention as a result of being an amazing shooter, and therefore, this will open up opportunities for Luka and Kyrie to score. Klay isn't nearly the defender he used to be, but he can still hold his own. The only thing I'm concerned about is who they'll start, which will likely include Kai, Luka, and Klay, and that means Klay will have to start at the 3, which raises a lot of defensive questions, but I still think this team can be effective in the regular season. At the fourth seed is the Denver Nuggets. They had a pretty disappointing offseason, losing KCP and signing Russell Westbrook, who won't be much of a positive for them. Regardless, they have the best player in the world in Nikola Jokic, which will ultimately make them a good team. They still basically have their full starting lineup from their championship run, and with that being said, it's hard to bet against them. I'm also expecting some of their younger guys to step up like Peyton Watson and Christian Brown. The biggest concern for this team is their bench depth, but their young players can make a leap this year, so it'll solve their problems just a bit. Losing guys like KCP and Bruce Brown in back-to-back years will be detrimental to this team and make them much worse, but I still think they can be a top team in the West and potentially make noise in the playoffs as well. At the fifth seed, I have the Memphis Grizzlies. I'm a believer in this team, even though other people might not be, considering the rust they'll have coming into the season. Ja Morant basically missed the whole season last year, only playing 9 games, as well as the rest of the team being hurt all year, which resulted in a horrible season for them. But with the team being healthy this year and the addition of rookie Zach Edey, this team can definitely make some noise in the West, and I wouldn't be surprised if they were better than this and could sneak into the top 3. Coming in at the 6th seed, I have the New Orleans Pelicans. They traded for DeJounte Murray during the offseason, and while I think this isn't a great move, it'll likely make them better, at least slightly, which makes me believe they'll secure a spot in the playoffs. Regardless, this depends on the health of Zion Williamson, who is usually injured every year, but he had his most healthy season last year, and new offseason pictures that came out of him cutting off a bunch of weight, which I think will make him a much better player. There's still confusion with the fit of Brandon Ingram, and he might be traded this year, but even with these issues, this team is still good on paper and can be good in the Western Conference. At the 7th seed is the Phoenix Suns. They finally got a point guard in Tyus Jones, which will definitely improve the team. Last year, they were running Devin Booker at point guard, and it didn't seem to work out well. But now having a true point guard, it'll solve some of their problems. You may see some regression from KD, but seeing how he's been playing for the last 15 years, I doubt it, and I expect him to still be great and put up a good 27 on efficient shooting. Bradley Beal, on the other hand, is questionable, and the team is hoping he can be an effective piece for them. With that being said, they'll be good enough for the play-in. At the 8th seed, I have the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm a Lakers fan, more of a Bron bandwagon, but regardless, a Lakers fan, and it's hard to believe in this team anymore. They're consistently a playing team, and I don't expect any different. They didn't make any moves in the offseason except drafting the rookies in Dalton Knecht and Bronny James and hiring JJ Redick. Firing Darvin Ham was a great move for them since Darvin Ham was a horrible coach for them last year and contributed to their failures. But I think Knecht can be effective for them, adding to their spacing and three-point shooting, which is very needed. But Bronny, on the other hand, won't make much of a difference and probably won't even play for most of the season. Regardless, they have 2 top 10 players in LeBron James and Anthony Davis, so they won't be too bad. They just need a better supporting cast instead of having D'Lo and Hachimura being core parts of their team. Anyways, enough of them. Let's move on to the 9th seed. At the 9th seed of the Sacramento Kings, they made a puzzling move to many by signing DeMar DeRozan, but I personally like the move and I think it'll make a big difference for them. But their spacing is questionable. No one knows if De'Aaron Fox will continue his good three-point shooting from last season, and if he doesn't, then their spacing is fried because Sabonis and DeRozan aren't good three-point shooters. They also have questionable defense because Fox and Sabonis aren't great defenders and neither is DeMar. Despite this, DeRozan is a great scorer and will help this team's offense get better. Coming in at the 10th seed of the Houston Rockets. The Rockets can be a very good team this year. They have a plethora of young talent on the team, but there is no clear hierarchy. They have guys like Jalen Green, Alperen Sengun, Jabari Smith Jr., Cam Whitmore, and rookie Reed Shepherd, who can be great and a good piece for them. Sengun would take the leap and be the clear best player on the team if he wasn't already, but the rest of the players on the team have questionable roles. They were already close to making a play-in last year with an explosion from Jalen Green at the end of last season, but I believe they can convincingly clinch the play-in this time. At the 11th seed is the Golden State Warriors. They re-signed Stephen Curry, signed DeAnthony Melton, and traded for Kyle Anderson and Buddy Hield. Despite all these moves, they lost a key part to their championship core in Klay Thompson, which will be detrimental to them, regardless of how bad people thought he may have been. These are good signings and will help the Warriors stay decent at least, but not great. Curry is in the worst possible situation at the time, and it will be hard to carry them to the play-in again this year. Despite his great efforts, they'll still miss the play-in. And seeing that he's 35, turning 36 this season, it won't be looking good for him and the Warriors. At the 12th seed of the Los Angeles Clippers, let's address the elephant in the room, and that is the loss of Paul George. This will make them much worse and cause them to drop in the standings. Despite this loss, they signed Kevin Porter Jr. and Derrick Jones Jr., who are valuable role players which will help them be better than horrible. They still have Kawhi and Harden, but they're both injury prone and most likely won't bring them to a lot of regular season wins. It's hard to rely on a guy like Kawhi seeing his history, and when your second best player is a washed up James Harden who will most likely be leading the team most of the time in the absence of Kawhi, you won't be very good. At the 13th seed of the San Antonio Spurs. Regardless of their low seeding, I think the Spurs have a lot of upside. They signed Chris Paul and got Harrison Barnes in the offseason. Signing CP3 was an amazing move for them since their biggest problem last season was the absence of a competent point guard who could set up Wemby. Now that they have CP0 rings, he'll create a lot more lob opportunities and open looks for Wemby, which will generate more points and ultimately lead to more wins. Harrison Barnes is also a good signing, but we'll keep it at that. Now, Wemby. He'll have an amazing season this year, making a huge jump and getting more wins for the Spurs. I still don't think he'll have a chance at winning DPOY, even though others think he can. But he won't because his team still sucks and won't have great defense. Regardless, Wemby will have a great offensive and defensive season, proven to be one of the best, if not the best, two-way player in the league and could sneak into the top 15 players in basketball. I have the Portland Trailblazers at the 14th seed. Once again, they'll be horrible, but they have a lot of upside, just like the Spurs. Scoot Henderson will make a leap, and they still have great players like Shaedon Sharpe and Anthony Simons. DeAndre Ayton too, I guess. But their young players will have great seasons, which will ultimately lead to more wins, and even if it isn't much more. Their coach and Chauncey Billups sucks, so they're doomed regardless. And they also have a lot of guards on the team, which will be kind of weird to see what lineups they decide to run. Last but not least, coming in at the 15th seed in the Western Conference is the Utah Jazz. There's not much to say about this roster. They suck. They have Lauri Markkanen and future star guard Keontae George, but other than that, this roster isn't pretty. Lauri can't bring them to the promised land, and this team will be pretty bad. And those are my Western Conference NBA standings for the 2024 to 2025 NBA season. Leave your thoughts in the comments below and let me know what you want to see next. And with that, I'll see you guys later.